So initially, I made these reviews as a means of coping during the initial quarantine. I think I kind of speak for everyone when I say that not being able to do normal things like go outside and hang with your friends kinda sorta hit everybody pretty damn hard. But the truth is, this isn't my first review channel. No, that would be Great Awesome Reviewers, which was, it was a thing. It happened. It existed. Well, I don't like to talk about it that much. But you might know it as the channel that made a Dragon Ball Evolution review. It's unlikely that you'll ever know it. But I made a Dragon Ball Evolution review that Team 4 Star stole a joke from. That same review is on this channel. It's pretty good. Go check it out. But no, I've been reviewing stuff for 8 years or so now, on and off, and mostly I'm inspired by far better reviewers. Guys like, James Rolfe, Doug Walker, Stuttering Craig, and hell, even the two really big reviews that I'm working on right now take quite a bit of inspiration from atop the fourth wall, which might be because I fall asleep to that nearly every night. It's to the point that I can probably recite all of Linkara's review of Commandiat Earth's End verbatim. God, I'm sad. But one critic I don't really give enough credit to as an inspiration is Jared Nabino, or Naboner, I'm sorry. I can't say your name. I physically can't pronounce it. I don't think it's pronounceable by any human being, but Pro Jared. There we go. That's easier. But we weirdly have a lot in common. We're both really awkward looking, and I'm really awkward acting. Actually, I'd say both of us are awkward acting, and we're both really big into weird Japanese role-playing games with really girly looking male leads. His reviews of the Final Fantasy games are some of my absolute favorite YouTube videos to go back to and rewatch. If I'm doing dishes or I'm cleaning, it's usually Pro Jared or It's a Gundam going on, but It's a Gundam has never made me nearly break a dish in a fit of laughter. If I can be honest here, I'm the Unga Bunga UFC and Mega Man guy here, okay? There's no way in shit I'm gonna be able to actually review something like Final Fantasy or Chrono Trigger and do it the justice that it deserves. No, what I need is a bare bones, no frills, simple as shit in a box role-playing game with no twists, no turns, just one playable character, and the punchline is Dragon Quest. Released in Japan in 1986 and then in the West in 1989 after the success of Final Fantasy and rebranded over here as Dragon Warrior because Dragon Quest was apparently copywritten, Dragon Quest is often thought of as the original JRPG. All sorts of tropes started here. The game is also notable for having character designs by Akira Toriyama, and if you don't know who that is, you're lying. The game begins with the king of Tantagel? I don't know how to pronounce it, fucking JRPG names, telling the player that the dreaded Dragon Lord has been revived. That's such a generic name, I love it. And threatens to shroud the land of Alefgard. My god. This reads like a bad Lord of the Rings fan fiction. In darkness once more. Now, it just so happens you are the direct descendant that put this Sauron wannabe bitch into the ground before, and you got to go out and find your ancestors' 3 sacred treasures to teach this old man another lesson. And that's the plot. There's no twists, there's no betrayals, there's nothing special going on. It's just, you're the good guy, there's the bad guy. Go beat him up. And yeah, sure, there's a princess to save, but you can just be a total Chad and leave her to rot in the cave. So, after the king tells you to go beat up the Dragon Lord, you go out into the world map, and, well, yeah, it feels pretty grand and epic. Helped by the fantastic overworld theme. Dragon Quest is kinda sorely underrated in terms of its score, drowned out by the likes of Final Fantasy and Chrono Cross, which, yeah, I mean, Uematsu is an amazing composer, but Dragon Quest's soundtrack really should not be slept on. Maybe if the composer was a little less racist and would let us have the same soundtrack over in the West, we would all be able to appreciate it more. After walking around for a bit, we enter our first battle. It's a slime, and yeah, sadly, battles mostly just devolve into straight-up slap fights. There are no other party members, so the strategy comes down to either slapping or not slapping. Later on, you do learn spells that heal or do more damage, but generally, slapping is your main goal. And after a fight, you get one experience point, 2 gold? And the next weapon I need is 180 gold. Oh god, this is gonna take forever. Well, guess it's time to make like the village people and start grinding. After grinding, I finally have enough money to buy the gear I need, and I head off to the next town. On the way there, we come across Erdrick's grave, where his tombstone tells us exactly what we need to do. North of here is Gallenholm, which is probably the most normal-sounding name of any town in this game. But we're stupid, so we go south to this cave. And that was my first mistake, as the cave doesn't really have anything of value in it, and only really serves to waste your time. It has some treasure and some monsters that at this point are great for grinding out experience and gold, but besides that, nothing we actually need. Once you reach a high enough level, even further south is the Quagmire Cave, Giggity, which does actually have stuff we need, and fuck, I died to a golem. Oy vey. Wait, I go back to the starting castle? Yes. If you die, then you go back to the starting area of the game. Fortunately, this is the Switch version, which allows you to quick save, but it gets worse, because of course it does. For every time you die, you lose half your gold. Half. This means that if you were close to getting enough gold for a new weapon or armor, you now have to start saving all over again. And of course, you'd think this wouldn't take long to get back to where you were again, because thankfully traversing the map only takes a little bit of time because you actually move really fast, but every couple of steps puts you into another encounter. It's like you have bacon in your pockets. The encounter rate in this game is too damn high, okay? And there are items to circumvent this, but we're not at that point yet. So we have to suffer through all of these encounters, and yeah, you can run, but if you fail, it leaves your ass open for a paddling, and it's honestly just not worth it. Just fight, hope you win, and get more money and experience. Next, we reach Rimmeldar, and finally we can buy magic keys. Throughout the game, we've been seeing these locked doors that require magical keys, which now we can buy. Oh god. The shops. If you thought fighting was a chore, and oh believe me it is, buying things is even more of a chore. You have to buy each and every item one at a time. You can't buy them in groups. No, you have to buy them single file, which means if you need a bunch of healing items, you have to manually purchase them individually. And they all take up their own individual slot in the item menu, save for herbs, which stack up to a maximum of 6, meaning you can only hold 10 or less items, and this includes equipment and stuff like the Sunstone, which, by the way, is not in any of the dungeons we've come across, like it fucking should be, but in a chest hidden away by this old fuck. So now we have one of the sacred items. We head back to Gallenholm, which houses the second sacred item. You go into this building here and go just slightly north of this old woman. How is anyone supposed to know that? How is any person, living, dead, undead, cyborg, alien, supposed to fucking know that? You don't. You guess. You just go, I guess I'm just gonna walk in this direction. That's some Zelda shit. I fucking love it. Go north and you reach Galen's Tomb, which has even more powerful monsters, but by this point we're a fucking mini-tank fighting for the God Emperor, and tear through chuds like our name was Taco Bell. Reach the bottom and we now have the Lyre of Ire, which we trade for the Rain Staff back in Tentacool. That makes 2 of the artifacts. After this, the only one left is the Mark of Erdrick. Unfortunately, it's surrounded by a poisonous swamp, and we need Erdrick's armor to negate its damaging effect. So we head to San Francisco, where we fight the most unreasonably difficult boss in the game. Legit, fuck this guy, okay? I died to him so many goddamn times, and every single time I had to sit through the king's fucking mile-long speech. I hate this guy. You know what? Fuck you. I'm out. So I grind a little more, save the princess, who for some reason laughs like Sigma in Mega Man X5, then go to fight this oolong-looking knuckle fuck. After finally beating him, we get Erdrick's armor and make our way to the swamp. Literally just laying on the fucking floor. No dungeon, no boss encounter. It's it's just fucking laying there, on the ground, in the open, for anyone to take. And you just so happen to need it and be the first person to stumble upon it and pick it up. Of course, convenient. And this armor, by the way, it kind of really fucks over the game, as it heals you with every single step you take, making it so you never really need to spend money on ins and almost never need to buy any more healing items, which is cool. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it really is. I'm glad the game is throwing me a bone once in my entire playthrough of it, but at the same time, it kind of, what's the term? Makes everything else fucking useless. Half the time, I don't need to stop to heal because I can just walk around. I mean, sure, yeah, it's the incredibly high encounter rate, sort of puts a damper on that, but still, like, I can just heal by walking around and half my problems are solved. It's like making pants that pay you. If your pants pay you, why go to work? Fuck it, I'll have to fight this Dragon Lord asshole. The final dungeon has you going up and down stairs, fighting damn near every kind of late game monster that this game has to throw at you. It's kind of a maze too, with constant dead ends and the odd chest. Once you get to the end, you prepare to fight the Dragon Lord, and he killed me. And after grinding my ass off even more, I return and fight him again. He ain't shit. Oh yeah, they should rename him to the Bitch Lord, because so far he's the biggest bitch in the game. After beating him, you realize that it wasn't even his final form, and he takes this form of a dragon. And, okay, I know, Akira Toriyama is a fantastic artist. I love his work on Dragon Ball. But this dragon, he's got the same facial expression that your friend has when he makes, like, a really, really bad joke, and he's waiting for your reaction. Like, what are you dying to tell us, buddy? Come on, just it wasn't that funny. This form is actually a lot harder, but honestly, just heal when you need to and slap him like the Bitchosaurus Rex he is, and the day is saved. The swamps are now flowers, and you return to the castle to speak to this asshole. He offers you the entire kingdom, which I feel is not enough compensation, but you are a JRPG protagonist, and you are too goddamn cool for that, and decide to make your own kingdom with blackjack and hookers, starting with his daughter. And that's Dragon Quest. It's simple, but really, ask yourself the most important question. Is it fun? That's really what matters when you're making a video game, or when you're playing a video game, or when you're reviewing a video game like I'm doing right now. Is it fun? Is it so fun that it's worth fucking over the Japanese economy? No. No, it's not. Yeah, no joke, when Dragon Quest II came out, so many people in Japan called into work that it caused massive damage to the Japanese economy. But really, this game was not that good. Enix thought it would light up the charts in the US like it did in Japan, but really they printed way too many copies and it was eventually given away for free to anybody with a Nintendo Power subscription. Growing up, I had 3 copies, and that's just because we kept buying like boxes of NES games at yard sales. And this is supposed to be the best version of the game. The constant grinding for money and experience, they really don't make for a fun game. And you know, Square re-released Final Fantasies 7 through 10 with all these fixes, but this game that really could have used a lot of fixes just got nothing. And okay, I know why the game requires you to grind. It's because it sits at a measly 6 hours in length. It felt longer. Oh, believe me, it felt longer. But were it not for the grinding, you could beat the game in probably 30 minutes. Hell, I'm sure that there's some speedrunners that could do it in less. It's kind of like how some old games used to just be ungodly hard just to keep you playing longer. Same thing, only now you take turns. And really, the plot itself is super, super simple. Now, that doesn't mean it's bad, just that it's kind of bare bones. Now, when the game is fun, it's really fun. It emulates the feeling of going on a grand, epic quest, kind of like a game of Dungeons and Dragons does. But at the same time, all the backtracking, the grinding, the fact that dying sends you back to the starting area every single goddamn time really does hurt this game. See, besides the music, the feeling of the adventure is the one thing that this game has really going for it. The adventuring is fun, but in order to do it, you have to grind, and a lot of times, grinding isn't for any reason but to beat one particularly tough enemy. A lot of items you need to find are just laying on the ground instead of being hidden away in one of the many dungeons. And speaking of the dungeons, they're not all that fun to traverse for that reason. A lot of the time, the dungeons are just labyrinthian for the sake of being labyrinthian. There's nothing at the end usually to make you feel like the journey going through this catacomb was worth it. Random encounters stop you dozens of times, hindering the player's progress and making an already grindy-ass game even grindier. Whatever pleasure could be derived from leveling up is very quickly quelled by the stark realization that you will need to do it even longer the next time you come across a boss. And that is why, if I can steal a running gag from Pro Jared, I think I'm owed one. I think Team 4-Star stealing one of my jokes means I can steal somebody else's, even if they're not related or connected in any manner. But just this once, I'm going to do this. Here goes. I give this game a punch in the throat out of 10. There's no pleasure that you can get out of this game. It doesn't hit any dopamine receptors like any other game I've ever played before. It is literally just the digital equivalent of Mike Tyson or Francis Ngannou throwing a right cross directly into your windpipe for 6 goddamn hours. That's it. There's no witty zinger, there's no awesome quip at the end. I mean, what more do you want me to add? It's not like this game has an NPC that lets you motorboat her for 20 gold. Okay, never mind, this game's awesome.